Hello, I am going to be starting book 3 of Age of Madness, which is The Wisdom of Crowds. It's on the shelf here behind me, even though I'm not going to be doing the physical format of the book. I'm going to be doing the audiobook because I love Stephen Pacey so very much. I'm excited. I'm curious to see how things are wrapped up. Curious to see if book 3 changes my mind in regards to Age of Madness being better than First Law. So let's dive in. Okay, a quick little note before I go to bed. They're already having ramifications from keeping Leo alive and that the crowd is rallying for him. So Orso's downfall is going to be the fact that he's too kind of a person. Just calling it now. All right, so I am about 10 to maybe like 13% through Wisdom of Crowds, and I'm not sure where things are going. Obviously, Orso has seceded the throne. The people are kind of all over the place. And I feel like that's going to blow up pretty soon. I assume Baez is going to show up at some point, maybe with an army from the West. Like, that's my guess at some point. Leo getting rid of the Dan in his name and kind of being made once again into this glorified character is infuriating. I don't think Orso is going to live through this book. And I'm sad because I love Orso. I think he's great. I am still hit or miss as to whether or not Leo and Savine will live through. I feel like they might. I don't know. I'm curious to see where things are going. I have a lot of driving to do today. I've been scratching my neck here, so it's bright red. But I'm going to be getting at least like 2 hours of listening time while in the car. So curious to see how the story is progressing. I'm happy that the book started with a POV from Orso. I felt like that was really necessary, but I just really don't know. Again, Broad is still my least favorite. I don't really see how he's benefiting the story at this point. Rika is phenomenal. She's been great once again so far. So all in all, enjoying it, but curious to see where things are going. Okay, so I just had a Clover chapter, which was arguably one of my favorites of the Age of Madness trilogy as a whole, where he goes to negotiate with Blackholder's men, and his guy just keeps murdering everyone to make sure that there's no feud that establishes between the two of them. I thought that was so funny. What was the guy's name? Downside. That's the one that just keeps murdering everyone. I thought it was such a great chapter. So funny. Savine having twins, not at all surprising. I kind of expected that, honestly. I'm liking where this is going. I'd say for where we are in the story right now, this is probably my favorite of the 3 books. So I'm hoping that kind of stays on track because I would love to give a 5 stars to one of these books. But we'll see. So far, it's been good. I thought that chapter was really great.
Hey, Murray. Hi. Hey, sweetheart. What are you doing? Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You're going to go take the chair now that it's available? Yep. Hi. Oh, my goodness.
Hi, so I am about 30% through Wisdom of Crowds, and it is chaos. The Age of Madness is aptly named now for where we are in the story. It is madness. I am at the point where Broad is walking the people up to this tower so that they can jump off, and Judge is just pure insanity. I mean, I hate her. I still don't care about her and Broad's storyline at all. But seeing just how everything is breaking down and kind of how Orso and Leo are watching from the sidelines of everything happening has been really interesting. Leo had his reunion with Jurin, which I guess this guy is just gonna deny who he is until the very end. I am still hit or miss as to whether or not I think Leo is gonna live through this. I think he might, and Orso's definitely gonna die. Savine also still hit or miss, especially now that she's a mother. I feel like it would be, and she seems to love being a mother, it would be really heartbreaking for her to be killed and separated from her children. But I could see Abercrombie doing that to us. I feel like at some point Rika's gonna kind of have to come back into the main plot of everybody else in Adwa. Like, I don't think that they can stay separated this whole time. And honestly, the thing that I've been the most intrigued by and wondering about is when Baez is going to show up, because I feel like he has to at some point, and I'm surprised that he's not here yet. But I can't tell if that's going to be a second, third, or final act thing where Baez is going to arrive. But people are starting to rally around the idea of perhaps Orso taking charge again, which is going to put a target on his back 100% more than it already is, which is going to result in his death, and I'm going to be so devastated. It's just chaos and it's mayhem. I feel like as a whole, this book has been much less funny than, it's the least funny of the 3 books. And I feel like for me, that's because Glokta isn't in it, and we really haven't had much Bremer, because Bremer and Corporal Tunney are going to recruit all of these men for Orso, which, like, great. I think that's good, but I sort of still miss having Bremer on screen. I definitely miss having Glokta on screen. Already too, I just love the original cast of characters so much. So it's so hard for me to divorce myself of them and really hone in on these new POVs, especially because Clover, I feel like, has been much funnier in this book, and I'm more immersed in his storyline because he is now he's now closely linked to Rika. So that's been really great. But Broad, I just don't give a shit about. Like, I just don't. And I feel like I'm going to get to the end of the series and still not care. The fact that we are still getting every other chapter, the fact that he's not wanting to fight, but he does want to fight, and Judge does know him. Like, I just don't give a shit. So I wish that he wasn't a POV. Like, I just wish he wasn't. And I wish we could have had somebody else in his stead. I feel like that would have been much more interesting. But all in all, I feel like this is probably the strongest of the 3 books so far. I like how things are coming together. I feel like the first book really, in many ways, was a setup book, which I don't typically love a setup book, but I still did enjoy myself. The second book was all of the politicking and trying to get everything in line and ready, and then this third book has just been a bomb going off. So it's been fun. I am intrigued. I am excited. That's kind of just where I'm at right now. I still feel like, in terms of if we're doing direct comparisons, that First Law is stronger. I feel like I'm probably gonna maintain that sentiment even after the end. I'll probably do a ranking video at some point once I finish of all the First Law books. It'll kind of be interesting to see where I land on everything, but all in all, still excited, still enjoying it, lamenting the fact that Sweet Baby Orso is going to bite it at some point, because it's just going to happen. Good morning. I am at the point where they're throwing people off of the tower, which is insanity. And then I feel like Baez is gearing up to put Savine on the throne. Just my theory so far. We'll see if it pans out. Okay, so just had the scene between Rika and Baez, and I thought that was an excellent scene. It just goes to show, like, how ballsy Rika is, and then simultaneously how involved Baez has been, and that most of his involvement has ended up being terrible. So all in all, really loved it. Marie. Hi. Love what you've done with the carpet. Hi. What are you doing? Hi, I just left the gym. I am at the point now where Savine is gonna be on trial, and curious to see how that's gonna go. My air conditioner at home is broken. Like, not my personal air conditioner, the house's air conditioner, and it's been very hot here the last few days. So I'm about to go pick up dinner because I don't want to put the oven on at home because it'll get way too hot. Has anyone else experienced that? It's just ridiculous. But yeah, hopefully Savine figures her shit out. Curious to see where it's going. I am still enjoying it. I didn't get to listen much yesterday. I haven't listened a ton today either. It's been like maybe an hour and a half of listening. which I know is a lot for some people. It's just not a lot for me. I've been editing most of the day, which has been really great. About halfway through my 4th edit, which is just taking forever, but I've been able to cull 140,000 words to about 123,000 words. I need to get it below 120,000, which I think I'll definitely be able to do by the time I get to the end. And then of course it'll be another round of edits, and thus the cycle goes. I'm so excited. It's really fun, but also I feel cross-eyed by the end of an editing session. So if anyone's a writer, you probably know what I'm talking about. But all in all, still having fun. It's a good time. This is my car vlog, which I know is a very popular place to vlog because it's just easy. But yeah, I will keep you guys posted. Hi. Hey, Murray. Hi. Ridiculous creature. Also Penny. Hey, Pen. And Callie. Are you gonna be nice, Penny? That's being nice. Good job. You're a dolt. I'm home from the gym. I'm showered. I'm a bit more lively than I was because I kicked my ass. But I had suspected when Rika and Niall had their falling out that it was all a ruse. And the same when she sent away Isernafil. I always want to say Aziraphale, but I'm so excited to see that that was correct, because it's one of those moments that even though you predicted it happening, feels so good. It just feels right. It feels great. I'm really excited. All right, I finished part 5 with the death of Calder. It was a great scene. Obviously, there's that little Easter egg there that there is another heir, so that's intriguing. I'm loving this book. I feel like this is definitely the strongest book of the 3. Just it's hitting all the right notes. So I'm excited to keep going, but I'm sad to keep going because I don't want it to end. Okay, I'm mid-listen, and I needed to pause it because we're so denouncing Baez. That's what's gonna get him killed. I'm calling it now. That's what it is. Orso, sweet baby Orso. I hate Leo so much. I hate him so much. I don't know if I've hated another First Law character the way that I hate Leo, because he sucks. He straight up sucks. Rod's just boring, but Leo is the fucking worst. He just killed Forrest and named his son King. The worst. Okay, so I'm gonna retract my previous statement. I do not think Baez is gonna be the one to kill Orso. I think Rika is gonna give Orso back to Leo. It's just my thought. And that stupid Leo is gonna live. I hate him. I hate him so much. I don't know if I've ever hated any character as much as I hate Leo right now. I mean, I definitely have. Hi, thank you for that. But Leo makes my veins feel like they're filled with fire. I hate him. It's been a hot minute since I've had a really big laugh out loud moment. And of course, leave it to Glocta to come back and tell Savine that she should have more gratitude to just have me cackling. As I figured, Rika gave up Orso, so I'm assuming poor sweet baby Orso is gonna die and Leo is gonna freaking live. I hate him so much. Glocta being behind everything is a wonderful surprise, but not at all surprising, based on the fact that so many people kept quoting him throughout the book. Like, Joe was leaving those little breadcrumbs there along the way. Would like to say that I called that one, but I didn't. All in all, though, so happy my Glocta is back. I love him. I love him. I love him. Hi, Zena. And Murray. Hi. Hey. Oh, you want to escape her, yes? You're such a scamp. This is my sage plant. In case you didn't know, sage blossoms. Most herbs do. It's so pretty and delicious. So the scene with Baez and Clover was excellent. I've been waiting for something like that with Baez to kind of just like reassert himself, even though his eater friend was destroyed by Zuri and her brothers, which like made perfect sense once again. Orso's hanging. I feel it deeply. I'm very upset by it. In terms of all of the First Law characters to die, Orso's is the one that I'm feeling the most. I don't like it. Especially because that stupid jerk Leo is gonna friggin' live. I'm just hoping that I'm wrong and that somehow he dies. Like, I would love if Jurin killed him. Just have Jurin do it. Or Savine poison him. Like, someone kill him. Please. Heading to my local farmer's market this morning. Gonna get some stuff. Excited. It's gonna be a good time. Got some good stuff. I also got some scratches on my shoulder from a kitten adoption thing that they had going on here. I got some fresh strawberries, some arugula, some salad dressing. I'm excited. It's strawberry season, which they're my favorites, so I'm really excited. The arugula I got today, I made an arugula date salad. We've got hummus here, some grape leaves, and pita chips. We're doing a meze tonight because the stove is above the bedroom and it's too hot. There's Josh. So it should be good. Hello, friends. Okay, I'm looking tired because it's the end of the weekend and I am tired. I finished the book 2 days ago. Been thinking about it before recording my final thoughts. I loved the book. It's definitely going to be a 5 stars for me. It's my favorite of the Age of Madness trilogy, without question. I feel like it is on par with the heroes and the Blade itself. I know that Kyle's gonna think that I'm crazy, but whatever, Kyle. I still think that I prefer the First Law trilogy. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about the different aspects of the end of the book and compare that to why. Let me rephrase that. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the end of the book, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit why I still lean more in the camp to First Law. So the end of the book was a lot of what I expected, but a lot of greatness, I guess. Some of it was very frustrating. Like, some of it was very frustrating. And mostly the fact that Leo still exists. I hate him so much. Like, I can't remember the last time I hated a character that much. I messaged Joanna from Joanna Reads because she and I buddy read this book by David Mitchell called The Bone Clocks earlier this year. And there's a character in that is infuriating, but he's so well written that, like, you hate him, but you don't hate him. And Leo is just like this character that I absolutely hate and can't stand, but he's well written, right? Abercrombie is phenomenal at character writing. It's really his strength as an author. Not to say that he doesn't do anything else masterfully. I think that what Age of Madness showed us is that in terms of his style of writing, he's more of an architect than maybe we initially thought him to be, and that there's a lot of forethought and planning going into the world. It felt very continuous. This felt like an arc, a 3-book arc, as opposed to the First Law trilogy feeling more episodic and then kind of put together. But let's go back to what's happening. So Orso's given up and then is released, and my hopes grew, right? Got very excited, was living in that moment for everything. And then, of course, those hopes get squandered very quickly when Rika gives them up. And I had a feeling, because Abercrombie is Abercrombie, that Orso was gonna bite it and Leo was gonna live at the end of this book. My hair up because it was getting a little bit in the way. But it's ironic because sometimes you just want your characters to live happily ever after, right? Like, you want them to be in a good place. And Orso's just dead because they kill him, and that's not a good place. That's not a good place at all. But Leo's punishment, I guess, is that he's tied to Savine, whom he's realized he hates and really is so much smarter than he is. He is crippled. Like, this, for me, felt once again very reminiscent of being kind of a reflection of First Law, and that Glokta and Leo, I found, started off in very similar positions, that they were both young, attractive, physical beings, Glokta being very smart, but Leo being an absolute moron. Ending up in a situation where they're both on the closed council and they're both crippled, right? So it felt a little cyclical in that for me. I mean, Joe went ahead and killed the nicest character, I feel like, in the First Law world, being Orso. Really, just what a gem of a character. So, loved him. I really liked the end of Rika's storyline and how she had that crazy vision at the end. I feel hopeful that we will get more First Law. Personally, I would not like more standalones, I think. I would just like another trilogy. And I loved seeing that Clover ended up going to Baez, and that Baez is still kind of working behind the scenes. So you know that the union's not finished with Baez. Baez will outlive a lot of these people. Most of them, I would argue. I loved, too, that Glokta was the one that was behind all this stuff. And of course, it made perfect sense because if you were listening throughout the series, so many people were repeating his little saying of, in order to rebuild things, you have to burn it down. So I felt like that didn't catch me off too much guard, but I didn't see it coming, so that was great. I loved that Zuri was an eater. I thought that was really fun. All in all, I just thought The Wisdom of Crowds was the most solid book of the three. And I don't know if it's because I thought it was the most well written. It's when the story came to its culmination. If I liked the character arcs for most of the people. I can't tell. And when I was thinking about this trilogy in comparison to the First Law trilogy, my friend is currently reading First Law because we gave him the first book, because I gift this book to people because it's my favorite book. Love it. And I loved all of the POVs in that book. I loved any time I got to a Glokta chapter. Having a Logan chapter was so interesting. Dogman's chapters were so funny, especially when you had the crew of the Northmen. Colin West grew on me. Pharaoh was just nuts. Jazal was his own branch of humor. All of them were just so good. And then in this series, I hated all of the broad chapters. I just did not feel like they added anything to the plot. I get that Judge needed to be part of the storyline, but I just feel like we didn't need a POV for that. Like, we had Savine and Leo that were interacting with Judge enough that we just didn't need Broad's perspective. It didn't add anything to the story to me, and it was so repetitive about, I promised I wouldn't be doing this, but do I really want to do this? Yes, I do, and Judge knows me better, and it's so much great when I just give in to drinking and lunacy. Like, I didn't care at all. I felt like the three characters and POVs that really mattered were Savine, Orso, and Rika. I feel like Leo is great. Like, he's that second tier in terms of getting the other background information that we probably need. In terms of interactions with the Anglanders, interactions with Joppa or Joppo, with Savine from his perspective, the closed council meetings, the burners, like, you can have that from Leo. And then Vic and Clover and Broad. Clover's became funnier, so I enjoyed having his perspective in the story. But again, I feel like it was only really necessary at the very end when he goes to Baez. Until then, not entirely convinced we need Clover. Vic, I kind of waxed and waned on just because I feel like she's interesting at times, but I just don't care most of the time what's going on with her, because I feel like she sort of struggles with what Broad is struggling with. Like, I'm part of the Inquisition, but I don't really want to be part of the Inquisition. I side with the winners. This is what I do. I don't want to go back to living like I did in the camps. Like, I get it, but it just feels like we're repeating a lot of the same things over and over and over. And I feel like repetition is a key thing for each of the POVs, but I feel like it's just more important for certain characters. Like, Savine's repetition is that she's an addict. And that's very much inherent from Artie, right? Like, we know this about Artie. And with Savine, she has an addictive personality, not only to pearl dust, but control. She needs to be in control. And Orso, his repetitive nature is with his worthlessness. Like, he just feels he's so unworthy and that he's so worthless and that he's squandered everything, which, let's be real, for the most of his life, he has. but he goes on to do very noteworthy things throughout the story. Like, realistically, out of all of the potential rulers and leaders we meet in the First Law universe, Orso is by far the best one, because he's the only one that genuinely wants to do good by the people. And I feel like we're robbed of him, right? Which is how we're supposed to feel. So of course that's very upsetting. But repetition, and like Leo obviously repeats the fact that he's the young lion, and Rika is the daughter of Dogman. She's, Rika with the long eye, like all that kind of stuff. Like, repetition is just a very key and central part of the story. But for Broad and Vic, it just felt meaningless, and like it wasn't advancing or adding to the plot in any singular way. I feel like everyone really amped up for me in general how much the writing of female characters improved in this series, and I feel like it improved, but maybe not as much as people led me to believe. I feel like Savine really just was Artie and Glocta plus. Like, there really isn't much deviation in her personality. She's very much like Artie in that she will literally do anything to survive, and she's manipulative like Glocta. Like, she's just them. Rika, on the other hand, I think is a very well done female character. In terms of the female characters that Abercrombie has written, Rika is by far the best one. Vic, once again, nothing too impressive for me. Like, I found she was average and fine. Like, I feel Vic was pretty much on par with what we got in terms of Artie and Pharaoh in the first book, and Monza in Best Served Cold. So I just don't feel like it was as great as people were leading me to believe. I feel like he really still shines with writing his male characters, because I will sing his praises, the sung hero for me of this series, not unsung, because I keep telling everybody, it's Orso. Like, Orso is by far the best POV in this new trilogy. I will die on that hill. I don't see how an argument could be made for anybody else. I could see people maybe saying Rika just because she has an interesting arc overall. Like, I really do like Rika's arc. But Orso is just the best one. And I felt like the dynamic between him and Savine is often what was the driving force of the story, in that you felt so bad for them, more so him, I feel like, than her. But it was just such a convoluted situation and relationship, and it was very layered. So I thought that Abercrombie did an excellent job with that. Overall, really, I loved the book. I'm just looking at the whole series compared to all of First Law, and I really do think I still lean harder into First Law. I'm probably going to reread it in the next couple of months just so I can have a fresh comparison in my mind. I've read the standalones all this year, so that's very much on the forefront of my brain already. And then, of course, just finishing this, they're all going to be kind of in there mulling around so I can see where everything stands, and then I can rank them. But I think as of this point, my top 3 books would be The Blade itself, The Heroes, and this. I think those would be the only 3 that I've given 5 stars to. I'll be interested on rereads if I feel differently. It'll also be interesting kind of going back to a world where he's a bit more meandery in his storyline, and that it's not as directional, I feel like, and maybe I prefer that. I'm interested to see. But I really enjoyed my time in this world. I love it so much. I love the First Law. I love Age of Madness overall, even though I didn't give it the 5 stars for each book that I know a lot of people have and a lot of people were expecting of me. Abercrombie is my favorite author. Like, I love his style of writing, his humor, his character work. It's top notch, really. There's no one better in my brain than that occupies that space. It's just Joe. And I'm sad that my time in this world is caught up and has come to an end, and I look forward to being reunited with my friends when he hopefully writes more of these stories, because I feel like there's so much potential that's left in this world. And I know that he said that he's taking a break from it for a while, but really, I just feel like he's created so much mystery and intrigue and potential that's just left there waiting to tap into, that we could have many more stories from. So I feel like I feel hopeful that we'll get more in the future. And I'm just so grateful that he wrote these stories and shared them with us, because it's given me some of my favorite characters of all time. Like, Glokta is my favorite character of all time, and I love Gorst so much, and Orso's up there too. Just top tier characters, really. And like, Rika really also is one of my favorite characters from fantasy. She's just an excellent, excellent character. There were so many great aspects of this book, and I just really enjoyed reading it. So those are my feelings. I know this was a bit rambly. As I said, I'm really tired, but I wanted to sit down and record it and get this out into the world as soon as I could. But let me know what you've thought of Wisdom of Crowds, where it ranked for you in terms of how you felt of the 3 books within Age of Madness. For me, I would probably... I don't know if Trouble with Peace outranks A Little Hatred, but it's definitely Wisdom of Crowds at the top. So that's where we are right now. But thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you'd like to help out the channel, you can always hit like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. If you'd like to see more vlogs, and if there's specifically a book or 2 that you would like me to vlog about, let me know in the comments. And if you want to follow me on Discord, Goodreads, Instagram, all that fun stuff, all the information is in the box down below. As always, thanks for spending your time with me once again, and I'll see you next time.